Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I just want to ask that everybody make sure that your cell phones are turned off or at least silenced at this time, and that all the board members, if you want to turn your microphones on if they're not on currently. Okay. Welcome to Grand Blanc Township Board Meeting for Tuesday, January 23rd. If we could all rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Robertson, would you call the roll, please?
I'd be happy to call the roll, Mr. Supervisor. Trustee Hugo is absent. Trustee Fike?
Here.
Trustee Raridan?
Here.
Trustee White?
Here.
Treasurer Kilmer?
Here.
Of course, I'm here. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes, present.
6 members present, a quorum.
Thank you, and I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. Dr. Raridan makes that motion,
Motion
supported
by
by
Raridan, supported by
Trustee Fike.
Okay, very good. Trustee Raridan?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Fike?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Okay, I just want to ask if anybody would like to make public comment. There are comment forms over here. We just ask for your name and address for the record. And feel free, if you haven't filled one out, go ahead and do that this time and bring it up to Trustee Raridan, and we'll make sure that's forwarded here. But with that, we will go ahead with public comments. Okay. And we remind everyone it's 3 minutes that we ask you to keep your comments to. Let's see here. We have first Mr. Edward Frank Uswick. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Edward Uswick. I never thought I'd be here today, but unfortunately, I am a victim of domestic violence and have not been taken seriously whatsoever by the Grand Blanc Township Police Department. Since October, I've filed 3 police reports. Keep in mind, I've never filed a police report in my life, and I've made 3 of them to Grand Blanc Township. 2 of them were for domestic violence, all with proofs, and third was for an extortion because a local attorney, Michael Manley, extorted me for over $30,000. I understand that Michael Manley has a lot of power in this community, and it'd be easier for Grand Blanc Township to turn the other direction and never look back. They said that they have shipped my cases off to the Genesee County Sheriff's Department, which is not effective either because Christopher Swanson is one of Michael Manley's longtime best friends. But nevertheless, I did get an email before I left my office today that said that's absolutely not true, and they're not accepting any cases because of the conflict of Michael Manley. So when the police chief has told me that they've shipped the cases off to the Sheriff's Department, it simply is not true. I came up with a binder for all the members here, which I gave to Mr. Dennis Lamada last week, and he said that he gave you a binder with all the cases in it and a disk drive showing the domestic violence. I was brutally beaten just steps from this very building, and it was all on video, and they still have done nothing with this case. This is all very disheartening, and I'm not really sure what to do. All I've asked is for this extortion case to properly get taken to an unbiased department, and for these domestic violence cases to be taken somewhere where they'll be taken seriously, because violence against men is serious, and I am a victim. So at this point, all I can ever think of is either Grand Blanc Township does not take violence against men seriously, or they simply are trying to shelter and trying to make sure that somebody that extorts somebody that has political power and is considered a local attorney of power is above the law. I'm just hoping that Grand Blanc Township does not continue to turn their heads on this situation, but I'm out of options. I've tried to handle this through all the channels. I've had emails back and forth with the chief, and that simply nothing has gone on. And now lastly, I was lied to saying that the Grand Blanc Sheriff's Department or the Genesee County Sheriff's Department was looking into this when they sent me an email that said they absolutely have no case or will not accept a case. It needs to go to the Attorney General or be handled locally under local ordinance. If anybody wants information about this, I have a full packet that I've made up and a victim's letter with my email, my phone number, and my address, and I will graciously share all of the things in which I'm talking about today. I just hope that we're not going to let Michael Manley extort a citizen, nor let domestic violence against men continue and have no voice in this community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Okay, next we have Monica Shapiro.
Hello, good evening. My name is Monica Shapiro. I live at 9413 Burning Tree Drive in Grand Blanc Township, and I'm here tonight because of the upcoming widening of Grand Blanc Road between Fenton and Bicentennial Park. It's the second phase of a $4 million job, and I have appeared before this board several times about this, talked to people at the Road Commission, talked to people at MDOT. Many people agree that there are 1,600 residents living in apartments between Fenton and Bicentennial Park, and they have no pedestrian access to that park. They can see it, they can hear it, they can say, that looks like fun, but they can't get to it. And I think that is a terrible thing for the township to do to some of its most vulnerable residents. So currently, the plan is for narrowing the lanes so that we can eke out 4 feet of paved shoulder on each side, which is completely unsafe and inadequate, but it should be 2 extra feet of pavement on each side so that we get a good wide 4-foot plus a 1-foot buffer on both sides. That would be the minimum thing they could do, but they could also look into a sidewalk in the road right-of-way. They could look into, and the pinch point is the bridge, but there are solutions to that. If Row Engineering could be asked to make a study of non-motorized access to this important residential corridor. I spent my Sunday, when everybody else was watching the Lions game, wandering around Heatherwood Apartments, talking to residents, knocking on doors. In 4 hours, I got 110 signatures. I got maybe 3 or 4 people saying no. Everyone said, why don't we have this? Why can't we have this? This is important. I guess the township doesn't care about renters. The township doesn't care about poor people or families. And this is the list of, these are all voters. I'm going to keep on getting more and more because there's still time. The project has not gone out to bid. You could commission a study from Row Engineering to make this happen.
Shapiro, time's up. Thanks. Okay, thank you. And now anybody else wish to make public comment? I don't have any other forms, so we'll close public comment. And at this time, we are going to have some public recognition. The board will recognize 3 police department promotions and 3 police department new hires in a ceremonial oath of office this evening. Chief Rennie?
Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to also recognize somebody who's not on the agenda but really responsible for our recruiting efforts. Lieutenant John Swartz tirelessly goes out, recruits these candidates, keeping our department standards high here in Grand Blanc Township. So I'd like to publicly thank you, John, for all your efforts that you do, thinking outside the box also, in obtaining these quality candidates. For those officers who are being recognized tonight, I ask that you step forward, please. Step right up here. All right, if Captain McCoy, if you could wave to everybody so everyone knows who you are. So a little bit about Captain McCoy. He's being promoted to captain from lieutenant. Captain McCoy has 19 years of dedicated service to Grand Blanc Township. During his time, he worked as a narcotics officer over at Flint Area Narcotics Group. He's been a field training officer. He is our go-to defensive tactics instructor, taser instructor. He's also done computer forensics, and Captain McCoy is a graduate of the MSU Staff and Command in 2021, and in 2023, a graduate of the MACP New Chiefs and Executive School. Lieutenant Gilbert. Lieutenant Gilbert, if you could wave to everybody there. So I would say that Lieutenant Gilbert is the most knowledgeable, most well-rounded person within this police department. He began his career with the Grand Blanc Township Police Department 24 years ago. And believe it or not, he was a part-time dispatcher before he became a police officer. Lieutenant Gilbert became a police officer July 12th of 2000. During his time, he has been a school resource officer, or if anyone in this room remembers DARE. So that's how long ago that was. He was a DARE officer. Detective, he's also been a road sergeant and a detective sergeant. He will attend a MACP New Chiefs and Executive School coming up here this March of 2024. Sergeant Strom. Sergeant Strom has 24 years of service with the Grand Blanc Township Police Department. John, something interesting about John is he started the police officers motor unit back in 2001. So those two police officer motorcycles that you see driving throughout the township, John was directly responsible for starting that program. He's held assignments as a field training officer, crime prevention specialist. He is a radar and LiDAR instructor. He's also represents Grand Blanc Township very well throughout the county as he's a police academy instructor over at the Lerda Police Academy, developing relationships with some of our new recruits who will get introduced here shortly. And he's also a police officer or police motorcycle instructor. So he's won several competitions over at the Biking to the Bricks as well. So Sergeant Strom. Next is Officer Cameron Rexford. So Officer Rexford holds an associate's degree from Mott Community College in criminal justice. Cameron came to us several years ago, who he actually had met Lieutenant Swartz out on a call. So he saw Lieutenant Swartz in the subdivision. He came up to him, said, "Hey, I want to be a Grand Blanc Township police officer." So typical, we get that quite frequently. Lieutenant Swartz said, "Well, here's my phone number. Call me anytime." Sometimes it happens. Oftentimes it does not. This young man was persistent. So he constantly was asking to do ride-alongs with the police department. We saw that he'd be a very valuable member to our police department. So we ended up sending Cameron to the Lerda Police Academy. Last year in the fall of 2023, he graduated in 2024, so from Lerda. So we're looking forward to you being on the team, Cameron. Now, Andrew Lyons, something about Andy is he went into the Lerda Police Academy and he wasn't really spoken for, and this is where Lieutenant Swartz really excels. He started reaching out to the Job Corps, Michigan Job Corps, thinking outside the box. Hey, has anybody applied for a local grant to be sent to the police academy? Well, Mr. Lyons was that person, and we struck out, or we struck gold, is what I, what I said. We'll say. So as soon as we interviewed Andy, you know, we could tell that he had some definitely some leadership skills. He graduated from Siena Heights University, where he played on the football team. So, and he consistently talked about teamwork during that interview. So, and I said, you know what, that's what we want here at Grand Blanc Township. That's actually who we are. We're a team, we're a family. So we're looking forward to Andy being a part of our team as well. And last is Officer Lakey. So if I was to use one word to describe Officer Lakey, that is leadership. So Officer Lakey came to us from the city of Burton. So over at the city of Burton, he was one of the leaders. So he was a sergeant with the city of Burton. He was always looked up to. When we did the background investigation, we talked to some of his subordinates. We talked to some of his coworkers that worked alongside of Sergeant Lakey. and they had nothing but good things to say. So we are very fortunate for our lateral program that we have going on to be able to bring Officer Lakey in as part of the Grand Blanc Township team. Now, for those who are about to pin the badge on your officer, if you guys could step forward. Officer. If you could stand right in front of your... Yes, if you would.
Do you want to pin?
Yeah, so
pin
because
first, or what do you want?
I am going to pin actually on Captain McCoy, so
Okay,
I will
very-
let you do that. on your-
Okay,
Yeah.
well, very good. We pin the badges after the oath or before?
So I'll have him do the oath first.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, would Officers Lakey, Lyons, and Rexford please step forward? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer in and for the Township of Grand Blanc, County of Genesee, and State of Michigan, according to the best of my ability. Congratulations, gentlemen. I'm sorry? Oh, you want me to do the, okay. All right, I can do that. I don't have forms for them,
No, we don't need an official, it's just a
but
ceremony.
I do need them to sign the forms for the first three.
We already signed them. Ceremony.
Am I in your way?
We need any Band-Aids yet? Good thing we have those bulletproof vests. Well, this is truly phenomenal in the age when it's difficult for most police departments to recruit. We're doing a fabulous job both in police and fire with recruitment, so that speaks highly of our community. So thank you to all of our officers that make up our team that do attract good people to our department, both in fire and police.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, you ready?
Chief Rennie has asked me to
Okay, go right ahead.
administer the oath to the three officers that
Please.
have been promoted. Okay. If you would, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer, in your respect, for the Township of Grand Blanc, County of Genesee, and the State of Michigan, to the best of my ability. Congratulations, gentlemen.
John? John. Hey, Bill. Congratulations.
Welcome. Congratulations.
One more time. Okay. Glad you're here. Good work.
Ken?
I know. No PDA. Thank you very much.
Those look good on you, bud.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Do you want to take a break for a few minutes? Let them clear the
We'll take about a 3-minute recess in case anybody wants to step out in the entryway to congratulate our new officers.
We haven't even got started yet.
I think, I don't know, which guy are you talking about?
Rich, I knew was, Leonard, but, Rich is a big guy. Hey, it was good to see you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and continue with our meeting.
reconvening.
We'll reconvene the meeting at this time. And I will entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda at this time.
Consent.
Okay, motion by Mr. Fike,
Motion by Fike,
support by Mr. White.
support by Mr. White on the consent agenda.
Correct.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, under old business, strategic plan full review discussion. Mr. Limata?
So under the strategic plan update, we're just going to have a conversation about the pathway plan. And how come your agenda says that?
What's that?
Why does your agenda have,
That's the one that was, oh, you know what? I've got the wrong,
oh, that's why, wrong agenda.
thank you.
This evening, as your strategic plan update was the non-motorized pathway plan. As I wrote in the narrative document, back in September of 2023, when you did your last full board review of last year, we had mentioned at that time that we needed to address the funding that was coming up for the Embry-Cook pathway plan. And so I'm happy to say tonight that that 1.3 mile trail that's going to cost about $2.1 million to construct, we've got notice that we received federal TAP grant funds of $1.1 million, and also noticed that we'd have a DNR, Michigan MNRTF grant of $300,000. So we've gotten $1.4 million in grant funds to make that. It's really, that trail is very important because it really does connect the north and south. It's our connector trail from the pathway that we have on Grand Blanc Road. It also serves a population that on Embry that would have a hard time getting out on a busy road and being able to cross. We'll have crossing areas there. It goes down to Cook, and it connects to the Dort Highway Pathway Plan, making it accessible to not only Ascension Genesis campus, but their non-motorized trails. But where our trailhead is down there, and then where our next priority will be is to be going down Baldwin Road. So we're really excited, and those grants take a long time to get. I just want to remind the board that the reason we do what we do is because that grant process takes about 3 years to complete in order to get all the way through. One of the things that's very important is that we have a non-motorized capital improvement plan that we can show when we're applying for grants. Also that the county has one. So in your handouts at your seats this evening, you see our recent non-motorized capital improvement plan with the priorities for 2025 when that trail will be constructed. 2027 for the Baldwin Road, which includes a loop that the developers are planning through the Tech Village project, and then from Saginaw connecting back up to the city of Grand Blanc for the 3 years after that.
So, Mr. Lima, so that you said a whole lot right there. I just want to make sure everybody understands the impact of that. So the Tech Village developers have already agreed that they will put a pathway through their project.
It's currently in the design engineering phase for the roadway to go through, and as part of that design engineering, there is a 100-foot buffer being planned on the south of the residential districts, all the way across. So from the Preserve and the Gateway Apartments, there's a 100-foot buffer that they're going to maintain to keep that separation from the roadway and the residential areas. And within that 100-foot buffer, they are doing the design engineering to put the non-motorized 10-foot wide pathway all the way through that entire development. So that's a big deal, Mr. Supervisor.
So you mentioned, Embry Road. We have a mobile home park on Embry Road that has residents that if they want to go into town to shop or anywhere right now are walking on a shoulder of a road where people are going 60 miles, 65 miles plus on that road. And, I've seen people pushing strollers, what have you, along there. So it'll be great to have a pathway there for those. I know we've been acquiring the property along that route. And also, it gives people in the city as well as the township access to the Genesis Health Park as well as the pathway. So, we've got a lot of seniors that live out there in Abbey Park. We have, all kinds of things going on that property that with the athletic center, we can have people from the athletic center traveling on that pathway and going into, all parts of the township. You go to Bicentennial Park, it opens up the door to so many things.
Yeah, this trail will connect Hill Road to Baldwin Road. So that's a really a big deal, right? Because it's going to come through the park, goes through Bicentennial Park, and connects all the way down. Ultimately our goal is we are going to have pathways crisscrossing north, south, east, west throughout the entire township. We've made a tremendous progress just in the last few years. You'll see the Perry Road pathway connect to Atlas Township in 2024. You're going to see, Dort Highway we just completed a year ago. This one is going to be completed in 2025 on Embry Cook. And then the DDA has already voiced their support for continuing the trail down Baldwin Road. So again, the nice thing about the DDA is that it's not costing taxpayers, residents, tax funds to put it in. The other thing is, like I said, 3 years to get through the grant process. The reason it takes that long is by the time you put the engineering, everything together, you have to hit those grant dates, and then you go through, then the notice of award, then it's still like 2 years to construction. You have to wait till your construction occurs before you can even apply for the next round of funding. So about a 3-year process. I commend the board on continuing to follow this. I handed out the counties, and it's important that we're on the same page with the county. Genesee County's Trail Priorities Map of 2023 was adopted late last year. And as you can see, Grand Blanc Township, Atlas Township, City of Grand Blanc, Village of Goodrich map that I handed out, they share the same priorities that we do, that they're recognizing where our priorities are. That's important when it comes to grant funding, that we're all on the same page, because we've got about a $200,000 shortfall in the Embry-Cook funding right now. We've pledged our matching percent that we put up, 26%, so we've got $500,000 that we'll have to set aside for capital funds. But any organizations that, will look for local TAP grants, which is how we completed the DORT pathway. But for example, the nonprofit Friends of the Grand Blanc Grid, I've seen a lot of their information out there. This may be a project that they could get behind and also put some money behind to help us finish that funding shortfall of about $200,000. But the reason your plan works is because we can set aside smaller amounts of capital for the matching funds every year and continue to work our plan and combine it with the free dollars or the grant dollars so that we can afford to do this. I'm really excited about the announcement of getting these grants. One of the things that we didn't get on DORT was the big federal TAP grant. It's because it didn't connect. So being able to continue to add a piece of the connected trail, but we had to do DORT out of sequence because we had to do it while they were building the highway. That saved us a ton of money, as well as we were able to adjust the Eagle concerns about wetlands mitigation, which would have made it cost prohibitive for us to ever finish it.
So doing these trails is kind of a little bit like fitting pieces of a puzzle together because, we didn't just arbitrarily pick the Embry-Cook pathway. It's because we're going to be able to get funding for it due to the connectivity of it between the Grand Blanc Road Trail and the Dort Highway Trail, right?
It's a strategic approach to being able to deliver this. You guys have mentioned the fact that doing that connectiveness in the community is part of your overall strategic plan. This is living up to your overall strategic plan by, again, we want to see multimodal transportation. It's important for folks, to be able to get out and recreate. And working your plan like you're working it is going to get us there. I would rather it could get done sooner, like most people would, if we could wave a magic wand. But unless you're going to go and ask the voters for an additional millage to dedicate towards trails, this is the strategic, measured approach that you need to take. And again, I came from a community that has hundreds of miles of non-motorized trails. This is how we did it. This is how most communities do it. You take a measured approach, you combine your capital funds with grant dollars so that you can continue to build out your network.
How would we, if we wanted to pave shoulders, which I know the road commission isn't in favor of encouraging people to ride their bikes or walk along shoulders, if we wanted to do more, where would that money come from, Mr. Lehman? Because obviously it's a 3-year grant cycle, but if we wanted to do more, where's that money coming from?
You're not going to be able to secure grant funds for paving shoulders generally because most people view that, and certainly the grant funds look at it, you're mixing vehicle traffic with bicycle traffic, for example. You're not going to be eligible for the grant funds because they don't think white lines make very good guardrails. They expect you to have that pathway set off into the right of way, but off from the main vehicle traffic. And so you guys can determine as a board that you want to put that money towards it, but again, where's the cut coming from? What services? It's always a trade-off. What services are you willing to cut to put towards adding road miles on? The Grand Blanc Road project, those things are designed years in advance. I don't think no matter what you do, you're not going to get that designed. And it's not just a matter of putting asphalt down on the side of a road. Those roadsides, if you did that, the asphalt would break apart and be gone within a couple of years, and it would be a tremendous waste of taxpayer funds. You have to plan that and build it up just like you would the road surface. So it's not just a matter of throwing some asphalt down on a dirt side of the road. It doesn't work that way. We've met with the road commission multiple times and had these conversations. They don't recommend it either. And they'll pave it, though, if you guys want to fund it. If you want to cut some other services that you're delivering now and put it on paving road projects, you may end up with a patchwork quilt every time they do a road project of another 2-foot lane here and a 2-foot lane there, which I think ends up mixing more vehicle and bicycle traffic together. But you can certainly do it it's a trade-off.
Well, the allocation we receive from the road commission can only be spent on roads. It can't be spent on, other projects. We've tried taking and paying 10% of all the subdivision projects, which is a huge, amount of money. And we want to be able to continue doing that. So that's already something we're trying to do to improve the streets here in the township. Mr. Kilmer, oh, okay.
My question was, is this at all connecting with the Iron Bell Trail? Is that?
Yes, the Iron Bell Trail is part of what the county is doing and us with the Grand Blanc Road Trail.
Good.
Yep. Mr. Fike and then Mr. Robertson.
I would say I would not be in favor of cutting services to build what is arguably a dangerous section of roadway for people to walk for the reasons that you mentioned. We forget sometimes that we are the leaders in all of Genesee County when it comes to non-motorized trails. We are the envy of other jurisdictions in this county. And I'm so happy, Dennis, that you've led the fight on this. You're to be commended. They improve our quality of life. People are walking and they're taking their bikes out, and it's a priority for us, and I appreciate it. You went after the grant funding and we got it. This is a great story.
Thank you.
Well, and the problem on Grand Blanc Road is a traffic issue right now that we're trying to resolve. Dennis, you want to speak to what the traffic issues that we're trying to resolve?
Grand Blanc Road project was not designed with the idea of putting additional lanes in for pedestrian use or bicycle use. It was designed because we have a issue with traffic, no left turn lanes, huge traffic backups on Grand Blanc Road, including at the park entrance. So when our conversations going back for many years with the road commission was, when can we get that on a funding cycle to address the issues? A lot of times when we have the big tournaments or things going on at the park, people can't get in or out in a safe manner. It backs up considerably. You've got a rise of the overpass right there, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a blind look down the road when you're trying to turn left. We end up back in traffic all the way back over the bridge overpass. Creates a very dangerous situation for vehicles. So the entire goal of the Grand Blanc Road project was to make it safer for vehicle traffic, to get that left turn lane in. They did the first phase last year from Dort, and now they're going to do the part to Fenton. And again, the entire project was conceived and developed by the Road Commission expressly to address the concerns with vehicle safety.
Clerk Robertson and then Dr. Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. First of all, I appreciate the fact that we're taking this issue up and that we're developing the record as to what this issue entails. In my previous experience in the legislature, when I represented the community of Davison, I remembered we had issues involving lighting, and there was a desire on the part of the city fathers to see some changes there. And what I experienced was the fact that whether you're dealing with the Michigan Department of Transportation or the Road Commission, the road construction and design and all of the things associated with roads are a highly specific and rather scientific discipline, and liability is tied to the fact that any municipality is required, and any road agency is required to be very precise in sticking to those regulations, those warrants, what have you. And if one fails to do so, the liability can be considerable for the municipality involved. That was the situation with the city of Davison, as I recall, and I was hoping that maybe you and Mr. Laddie could speak to that issue, the issue of liability if we deviate.
I'm really, one of the things that we have seen in developing these is we have that very real conversation. You're always trying to encourage, when we went through our master plan, for example, to master plan our 5-year update for Grand Blanc Township, we listened to all the stakeholders came in, and we talked about what's key to multimodal transportation. We took in comments from people. I said it earlier, white lines make bad guardrails. It's what former managing director of the Road Commission often said. That concern about keeping it safe And it's not like it was even a few years back with distracted driving. I appreciate the hands-free law in Michigan now with cell phone drivers, but drive down Saginaw and tell me how many people you don't see with a cell phone in their hands still today. Distracted driving has increased, and it's one of those things where we really do have to be considerate of making sure that we have safety in place when we design any of this. If you look at the board's adopted non-motorized plan, you absolutely have safety in mind about keeping that separation from the roadway. It is a liability function if we're going to design to go, you really don't want to make that mix. And the road commission will not spend any money on widening those shoulders. It will not be road commission funds that do it. They can't spend the money on trails or extended shoulders. It has to be taxpayer funds if you guys are going to start moving in that direction.
Dr. Reardon?
Yeah. So, Mr. Supervisor, I take exception to the statement that you or the board doesn't care for low-income families. Mr. Supervisor, you have been a strong advocate of helping out the lower-income people. You were instrumental in making certain that the water problem in Parkwood was taken care of without cutting off their water, which you could have done. So that was a very disingenuous statement, and I wanted to make that clear because it kind of aggravated me.
Thank you.
The second thing is on Grand Blanc Road, wouldn't we have to build something over that bridge? I mean, wouldn't that, because the bridge to 75 for safety, because, I mean, you just couldn't have these.
There is no plans in there, and you couldn't engineer it at this point. It would be one of the things that was kicked about a few years ago by a resident who said you can just keep it at 2 lanes over the overpass. Well, that would defeat the entire point of the project of Grand Blanc Road, which was to put the left turn lane in there so we weren't backing up and creating the traffic hazard for vehicle traffic. And so if you are going to have that left turn lane go across, which is what the plan was, there isn't really room to run you're going to bring if you widen the shoulders, you're going to bring people up there and mix them into a tight situation over that bridge heading to the park.
And then my last comment on that
Sure.
is slow and steady wins the race. I mean, we just have to go what we can afford because nobody wants their taxes raised. And I mean, anyway.
Well, if you have a plan, if you don't stick to the plan, you don't have a plan. And, we have a plan that the board, several boards have looked at over the years. The matching funds for these grants, we still have to come up with some money. Right now, I think it's $500,000 we need to come up with before next year. If we siphon off $100,000 for this little stretch here of paved shoulder and $200,000 for this, and I'm going cheap, it's more like $500,000 or $1 million for some of these roads, but maybe not $1 million, but it's a substantial amount of money. And if we siphon that off of what we've got to put towards the pathway, we're going to have to kiss the grants goodbye because without the matching funds, or at least the buy-in, we're not going to be able to get those grants. So I think, we would be cutting off our nose to spite our face to say, oh, we're going to take this money here and just do, while we're paving a road, pave a shoulder, instead of devoting that money or keeping it devoted to the pathway that we intended. I think, Grand Blanc Township has been the leader, Mr. Fike, in pathways here in Genesee County. That pathway on Dort right now, might not get used a whole lot because it's not connected. But when we connect that to the Grand Blanc Road pathway, like Mr. Limita said, that's going to connect Hill Road to Baldwin Road. That is going to be the main connector north and south. Now we can branch off of that and go east and west. And with the DDA, we definitely can go east, and in the north part of the township, we're working on the sidewalk up here, on Saginaw Street, which will tie into that as well. So I think that you're right, slow and steady, Dr. Reardon, wins the race. It may not be the most, visible thing immediately because it's a 3-year cycle. But believe me, when we start pushing those overpasses or underpasses back on Cook Road and people see what that opens up, I mean, anybody, north of Cook Road right now, in order to get to the Genesis pathways, they have to drive out there probably. It's going to open that up. It's going to open everybody in the south into the township to going up to Bicentennial or even further north, up to Hill Road. And there's some beautiful pathways up there as you head up towards Hill Road. So I think it opens up a lot of doors that maybe some people aren't familiar with. But I think we're doing the right thing. The grant money is phenomenal. We had to wait a while to announce it because we weren't supposed to make it public. But we're going to keep pursuing those grants and keep on our plan. At least out of this board, and I'm hearing a consensus among this board that we're going to keep with our plan and stick with it. Mr. White, any thoughts?
My only question is the Iron Bell.
Trail?
Yes. Is that really more of a county? Are they taking, say, the part that will connect us eventually to the?
It actually was initiated by the state originally, but some counties or some municipalities have said that, they don't really want to be on that pathway. But to be honest, right now, we would go north to Burton, and I have inquired with Burton right now, and they don't have any plans at this time to continue on that path. But our portion of it, a good portion of it, will be paved when Perry Road is done.
It's a great question, Trustee White, and the challenge that we have is obviously former Governor Snyder was a big proponent of the Iron Bell Trail, and they had come up with the legislature to provide some funding for developing the engineering for the pathway, and we received, I think it was like $7,000 maybe 8 years ago towards helping us engineer where the path was going to go. But there hasn't been any funds bantied about for actually constructing the Iron Bell pathway at this time. Could that change in a future, budget? I hope so. I think they would look kindly on it because it's still a lot of people have adopted the concept through their community. And we certainly have it on as one of our priority items because, it makes sense for us to go up to Dort as well, just from a connection standpoint. But I wish that the county or the state was willing to fund a little bit more of the Iron Bell Trail to take the pressure off of local municipalities.
But you'll see, so on this map, on the Grand Blanc Township plan, you see over there by the East Middle School, that, teal-colored line, that represents the Iron Bell Trail. And on that trail, you'll see it coming from Goodrich there, Atlas Township. That actually, when that's completed, and they'll continue working on that this summer. They had to stop for the winter, but that path will go all the way, you see at East Middle School, they will have actually a trailhead right there that we were able to secure from the school district. So people will be able to park their car there, what have you, and then get on the trail and go east or west. So going east, as I mentioned, you can go all the way out to Goodrich and beyond. Going west, you'll be able to continue down Perry Road and into the city and get on Grand Blanc Road, get on the pathway on Grand Blanc Road and take that to Bicentennial. Eventually, you see on M54, which is Dort Highway, the teal line going up Dort. That would be the eventual pathway of the Iron Bell Trail going north along Dort. You'll see that it actually crosses over Dort Highway and goes behind the current Walmart store there, crosses over Saginaw Street, and then continues in a utility corridor that runs behind some businesses on Dort Highway, as well as the former Loch Lomond golf course that runs behind there. And that's where it ends in Grand Blanc Township, and Burton would pick it up, so along that utility corridor. So a portion of the Iron Bell pathway has already been paved, obviously, with the Grand Blanc Road, and it is going to be part of it along Perry Road, where the county currently is building that pathway. So if you drive out Perry Road and head towards Atlas Township, you will see where construction stopped this as winter came in. So we do have a plan. We're sticking to it, and we're making more progress than the most. Mr. Lima, on average, if you average out what we're spending on pathways, what's that dollar amount? And I'm not just saying our dollars, but including the county on the Perry Road project, on the Dort Highway project that we completed with this pathway, that we're going to start next year on Embry Road and Cook Road. Is it an average of close to $1 million a year, or where would you put that?
Oh, yeah. If you look at Dort Highway and Embry Cook, you're over $3 million. You're at the part that went all the way to Atlas. I mean, that's, still is a couple $1 million project. Easily over the last few years, it's $1 million a year. But again, combined with a lot of funding sources to make it real. Past people don't often are so surprised, but these pathways that, it's nothing to be $1 million on, the mile for Dort Highway. $2.1 million for Embry Cook for 1.3 miles, but it also, we have to do something with the underpasses over 70 or under 75. That's what raised the increase. You have to secure easements for all the property owners. There's 6 easements on Embry Road. Shout out to the owners of StoreTech over there that donated their easement to the township at no charge. So thank you to them, because it's the generosity of taxpayers and property owners like the owners of StoreTech that allow us to put these projects together as conservatively or fiscally responsible as possible.
So if we were to spend $1 million a year on pathways of money from our general fund, we certainly would have to cut services for that, but we've been able to get grants for this money. We have been contributing some from general fund, but nowhere near $1 million, obviously.
If you're willing to continue to support it up to $250,000 a year, you can continue along the path that you're on, no pun intended, to accomplish the goal that you've set for the community. But you think about $200,000 a year in a big budget, doesn't sound like much, but $200,000 a year is 2 police officers. $200,000 a year is, when you start looking at the trade-off, and if you want to do more, it certainly can be cost prohibitive. We set aside to help on our 50-50 allocation funds about $180,000 a year to accomplish road projects. And I think you would be vilified as a board if you were to start spending more money on pathways than you do on road projects, because if you want to have a conversation with the residents here and you ask them what the number one priority is, I guarantee you 99% of them are going to tell you roads, roads, roads. That's been done in surveys over and over and over again. People want their roads fixed. And while pathways are amazing and we got to continue to accomplish it, but if I live on a road that's completely destroyed and I got a public road and you're asking me if the money should be better spent on a pathway or maybe assisting me with the new 10% matching funds that we do on subdivision roads, you better believe that the vast majority of folks are going to come down on the fix my road first, and then I'll help you with your pathways.
Well, from the volume of phone calls I receive on subdivision streets and, the interest that we've had in these special assessment districts this year alone for paving subdivision streets, I think we know where people's priorities are. But I'm glad that we're doing the pathways. I'm an avid bicyclist and enjoy, riding, what have you. But I know that, our resident, we've got a balancing act here. We've got a park, 200-acre park that we're going to approve some things in a few minutes on, or look at approving some things at our park. But we've got a lot of priorities going. We've got a brand new fire department that we're going to be building, DPW. All those things factor into our budget. And so I think this board's done a great job of balancing all those things. So I know that in discussion, Mr. Lemata, you had mentioned something along the lines of inviting the road commission to attend our meeting to answer some of these questions that some board members have had. Is that still your thoughts?
I think it would be well received. You heard the speaker during public comment earlier saying it would be easy to just start paving the road projects. It might be good for the board to just invite members of the road commission in to have that conversation. I mean, we do it on a annual basis. We talk about all these road projects and where the funding's coming from and what we can accomplish. It might be good for the residents to actually hear from the road commission on, where they stand on paving the shoulders of the roads. Because again, they won't say no if you guys want to fund it 100%. But again, it's not just throwing asphalt down. It's prepping that road surface as well, and it will be prohibitively expensive. If you go in that route, it's the same as throwing this plan out the window because you can't do both. You can't afford to do both without cutting services.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next item is ARPA report. Mr. Lemina?
So, again, it's just a recap of where we're at. You guys know we had the $3.8 million. Our goal was to have it completely allocated by December 31st of 2023. We have to have it spent by 2025. That's not going to be an issue for us. I can tell you that the remaining balance, after finishing all the other projects that the board had approved, to Fire Station number 1, we've got just under $1.3 million remaining to allocate to that. We are, today we spent a very long day in a page-by-page review of all of the different design elements of those buildings. We're close. We intend to be pushing dirt in June of this year, May, June of this year, breaking ground and moving it forward. About $7.5 million for your fire department, that the $1.3 million will go to offset. And like I said, we will have our ARPA funds spent before the end of 2024, which is great, and a great utilization when you look at the projects that were funded with the ARPA funds. I will also at this time just say with Fire Station DPW building, I am working, we got notice yesterday from Eagle on the wetlands mitigation. We had 0.5 acres and we have to mitigate with Eagle 0.83 acres. I've been in touch with a wetland bank. I was trying to get it before you tonight, but the Eagle permit said that it needed to be emergent wetlands credits that we were going to buy, and they had a forested wetlands credit. So I'm just trying to get verification from Eagle that they will allow that to count. But it's going to cost us just under $100,000. I have to have it. They only give you a 30-day turnaround time. I have to have it in the offices of Eagle and have the complete thing done no later than February 16th. I really wanted to get it on tonight, but I just got it yesterday, got the approval yesterday to move it forward. It will be on your next board agenda so that we can close it, get the check over there, get the paperwork done, and get it to Eagle by February 16th, because if we don't get that done, we can't move forward on our project.
And that's if they confirm allowing us to purchase the woodland.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions from Mr. Lehman on any of the ARPA funding? Okay, very good. I think we spent that money well that we were given. Under new business, the board will consider a motion to approve the purchase of the fire event pitched roof simulator for $14,585 and authorize the township superintendent to sign all purchase and warranty contracts. Good evening, Chief Burdette.
Good evening. How are you?
Good.
The unit that we're looking to have is a training tool. It's for training firefighters on pitched roofs of various pitches, such as one of the main things the firefighters do is we'll cut holes in roofs and open up ceilings to allow ventilation of the gases and the smoke out of the home so that the firefighters can see and be able to work through doing a rescue as efficiently as possible. What this does is it allows us to train without actually having to have a fire or be on a roof. So we either have abandoned buildings that we've done this before on, but now we're asking to have this into our cache of training tools that we use every single day. Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Where would this be located? I assume this thing's fairly sizable.
This is actually, it's a small portable unit. I believe you're looking at a 8-foot by 12-foot unit that could be out by our training tower.
Right behind.
Under the cement.
Behind the building.
Behind the building.
Dr. Reardon?
So you went with the lesser of the two, but wouldn't that double roof prop gable and flat, wouldn't that give you better training opportunity, or?
It could, I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked at that unit, but it is a double gable, it's a different style of roof system. The $15,000, I'd have to really take a look at it.
Okay, I'm fine.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
Is a motion in order, Mr. Supervisor?
It is.
Then I will make that motion, Mr. Supervisor.
Is your support? Support by Mr. Fike.
Supported by Fike. Okay, very good. Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Item B, under new business, the board will consider a motion to approve the to approve the proposal for an OPEB actuarial valuation report and related documents submitted by Foster and Foster Actuaries and Consultants in an amount not to exceed $20,750 and authorize Township Superintendent to execute all related contracts and documents. Mr. Limita?
So Foster and Foster Actuaries, if you recall, we changed to Foster, I'm thinking it might have been 3 years ago. We have to change actuaries periodically to be consistent with GASB rules when it comes to our reporting for our unfunded liabilities. This is what these folks do. We recommend that the board does approve Foster and Foster to move forward, and they will be providing us with the updated actuaries as through December 31st of 2023 for your review on our success of getting rid of our unfunded liabilities for retiree health care.
Any thoughts, questions, concerns?
Is the motion in order, Mr.
It
Supervisor?
is.
Then I will make that motion.
Okay, supported by Mr. White.
Supported by White. Very good. Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Item C, the board will consider a motion to approve the purchase of police fleet equipment from Winder Police Equipment, Inc. for $44,360 and allow the township superintendent to sign all purchases. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening. At last board meeting, you had approved 5 police vehicles, Tahoes. This is essentially the ancillary equipment to make them look like police vehicles, which includes police lights, some of the center consoles, rifle racks, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what this motion would be for.
I walked through the garage earlier today, and whenever I see the police cars, I marvel at our mechanics that are able to outfit those cars, because basically they remove the entire interior, and I'm not talking about just removing the seating. I'm talking about removing the door panels to the floor, everything. And basically, they rewire the entire inside of that police car. And you would not believe the amount of wire, in those police cars that, you have to be an electrician practically to do it. But it's a blend of mechanics, technology, and electronics to be able to do that. But we save a ton of money by installing all that stuff, and we ourselves, and we try to reuse every bit of it that we can. So I'm sure that this cost is reduced greatly by the work that our team does in the garage.
Yeah, absolutely. They do a great job. It's a lot of work, and they make a great finished product when it's all said and done.
Right. Okay. Making the motion, Dr. Reardon? Okay. Supported by Treasurer Kilmer.
Motion by Raritan, supported by Kilmer. Item 8C. Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Item D, the board will consider a motion to approve the purchase of playground equipment for Creasy Bicentennial Park from Game Time Sinclair Recreation LLC in the amount of $376,769.80, and authorize the Township Superintendent to sign all related purchase agreements and contract. Good evening, Mr. Kimmer.
Good evening. How are we tonight?
Good, how are you doing? Well, exciting stuff here with Bicentennial Park.
Can you switch over?
Oh, sure, absolutely. It takes just a minute, so.
No problem. Okay, so good evening. The existing play structure at Bicentennial Park was currently, or was built in about 2001, 2002. So we're looking at over 20 years old of the existing play structure near the South Pavilion. It's reached a point now where it's a rubber tiled system. The tiles are heaving. We have, a few cracks in the slides and the other play structures. It's just not, very safe playground structure anymore. So this has been part of our capital improvement plan. The board approved capital improvement plan. It is a budgeted item. We're really wanting to develop a play structure that is ADA accessible, inclusive, sensory friendly. So we've incorporated some components in there to really just be accessible for children of all ages and abilities. A really nice addition, hopefully, to Creasy Bicentennial Park. We did get 3 different proposals from 3 different companies. The price tag ranged from about $370 to $410 or so. This one at $376 is right in the middle ground. Sinclair, from day one on their initial proposals, really knocked it out of the park with what we were looking for. The color scheme, ADA accessible components. So yeah, we're just, we're looking forward to getting this project completed.
I'm excited. It looks beautiful, too. The footprint of this is how much?
Yeah, let me give you
the difference in footprint. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit.
Let me give you a perspective here. So we have an overhead view here. The proposed main play structure will, incorporate the area where the existing play structure is. You can see it there to the left.
So on the left is the current existing.
Correct. Your current existing play structure. So really, the total square footage of the proposal is about a little less than 5,400 square feet. So we are almost doubling what the current play structure is out there.
Fabulous. Mr. Fike, did you have a question or concern?
This surface is all weather, and if you fall on it, you don't get.
Correct. It's a poured-in-place rubber surface. It has a 5-year warranty on the surface as long as we maintain it according to the manufacturer's specifications. So yes, a poured-in-place, consistent rubber surface, not a tiled surface.
So part of the expense goes into the drainage as well, right? I mean, it
Correct.
has to be properly drained.
Yes, properly drained and sloped and subsurface materials and all of that, yes.
Treasurer Kilmer?
Is this like in loose chunks, or I hear you talk about continuous surface and whatever?
Correct. Yeah, so the existing rubber tiles now, I gotta say, they're what, maybe a 4x4
Right.
foot section. This poured-in-place rubber surface will just be one seamless surface that they install, rather than tiles heaving that you have to replace with freeze and thaw cycles.
So it's just, when you go out there, you're gonna see one complete smooth surface.
Correct.
There won't be loose pieces. There
Correct.
won't be curling, over a couple of years. Hopefully this lasts much longer. I mean,
Yes.
The lifespan of the current play structure ended a long time ago.
It did. And the, most of the components of the play structure, there's I believe it's about a 15-year limited warranty on some of the metal components.
Right.
So generally 15 to 20 years. Once you hit 20, you're probably reaching life
Approve this,
expectancy.
what are we looking at in time frame as far as construction?
Time frame, so on the proposal, they have an estimated delivery within 10 to 14 weeks. So we're looking, by the time we all said and done, we're looking midsummer probably to late summer for install and completion. They should be able to fully complete all of it within about a week's time.
Do
So,
you have to go to any outside contractors for any additional work?
nope, so this is, the cost of the proposal here includes removal of the existing structure, removal of the existing tile surface. They will,
work, all of it.
concrete work, all of it, they'll handle everything with their contractors and subcontractors.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I heard you
Mr.
say-
Kilmer?
I heard you say two separate things. One is that we were gonna do the work, and then from listening to you, I don't think we are.
No, so we went back and we included in the estimate to have them remove the existing structure and the existing flooring. We thought about possibly tackling the existing flooring removal, but it just, for time's sake and consistency, we included that in there as well.
Warranty too, I'm looking forward to having a warranty.
Correct.
that things can- Dr. Reardon?
Just a mechanics issue here. Are you going to have something, because I'm looking at the maintenance, are you going to have somebody check this every day at the end of the?
We will. We do have a Parks crew leader and a Parks maintenance technician out there. We'll develop a schedule, a routine maintenance schedule that they go out and check either every day, every other day, to make sure we're following the manufacturer's recommendations for cleaning and maintaining the surface.
Because they have quite a bit on the cleaning.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Computer switched off. Yeah,
Let me just say,
Clerk Roberts.
I'm delighted at what I see. We've come a long way from the monkey bars and the jungle gyms and
Right.
the teeter-totters when I was a kid. Of course, that was a half century ago now that I'm reminded of it, but congratulations on good work.
Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Kimmer?
Okay, is a motion in order, Mr. Supervisor?
Yes.
Then I will make that motion.
Okay. Supported by Mr. Fike?
Supported by Mr. Fike. Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Raridan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Dr. Reardon?
And this is another thing that we're doing for the entire community, low income, everything.
Correct.
It's not,
Yes. And it's right on Grand Blanc Road where we're talking about, so it makes it accessible for everybody that lives along Grand Blanc Road, obviously.
Thank you.
And actually, it's even accessible to people all the way up to Hill Road because the pathway already leads up to Hill Road. Okay, so item E, under new business, the board will consider a motion to approve the 2024 Department of Public Works budget. And we have with us two of our faithful DPW director and assistant director.
You guys, when you do
Alan
the
Gregg?
budgets,
Yes.
at the end of the year always, and we're required by the Uniform Budgeting Act for you guys to do appropriations resolutions to approve the general fund and special revenue funds. There is no such requirement for your Department of Public Works budgets, your enterprise funds. But I established that when I got here, is that we get it to you and we have you approve a motion to approve the budget, so that what we're trying to do is just make sure it's documented that you've had the opportunity to see the budget, ask questions, and move it forward. We are required, obviously, to fund our enterprise funds, be able to operations, maintenance, capital improvements, and that's what they're going to present to you this evening so that you have the opportunity to see just what it is. One of the reasons it's coming to you now, I explained at the last meeting when you approved our fee schedule that supports this budget, is that it took us quite a bit longer to work through the rate modeling in order to come up with what we came up with. And once you guys supported the fee schedule, then we could take that fee schedule, build the budget based upon what you approved, and that's what these gentlemen are going to show you this evening. Al?
Good evening, Board. Superintendent spoke on What you have in front of you is a 2024 budget that is based off of the fee schedule that was approved 2 weeks ago at the last board meeting. We worked really hard on this during that whole time that we worked on that rate model to put together everything that we had for our, not only for this year's operations and maintenance, but also for our capital improvement plan for this year. With all that, we're pleased to bring a balanced budget for 2024 for the water and sewer funds. You know, with this budget, it comes with the increases we had talked about 2 weeks ago. And then we have several goals that we look to accomplish in this coming year. You know, one of the big one is working on the DPS facility. Currently, we're housing different equipment and different stockpiles in different areas, and this will bring everything all together. It'll also help increase the space for the mechanics bay when they are able to take over our barn out back. Before I got here, there was a promotion that had moved the GIS person out of the DPS department and moved to the superintendent's office. That position was filled before I got here, so we're actively working with the new GIS person to get everything up to speed and back where we need to be with our asset management and all those style of programs. There's a couple of capital improvement deals that we're going to work on, a couple of big projects, and I'm going to let the assistant director speak on those projects.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Like Director Cooley and Superintendent Limita said before, the fee schedule was approved to support our robust capital projects that we're excited to bring to the township. Kersey Creek Interceptor, which is huge for Grand Blanc Township and Genesee County to, allow develop to continue on the south end. Tech Village, we're rolling on that. We have bi-weekly meetings on that. That's going to get going. Our new DPS facility. We have some water infrastructure improvement projects. We're upgrading a meter pit, replacing some water main. I'm really excited about a meter change-out program that we've been demoing that could bring a customer portal to our residents, not only to detect leaks for them, but also help with our operations when customer service. So we're excited about that this year. We've got some capacity issues to look at. We're upgrading District 7. We're going to start designing, not District 7, I'm sorry. Yeah, 7 West. We're going to be doing the upgrading, designing for that for a 2025 project. We're finishing up the Phase 2 of Fenton Road Sewer, which was a part of the Grand Blanc Bypass Sewer project. We got some restoration on Grand Blanc Road to do, and then we hopefully will be coming to you to bid the project here, or award a bid here in the next coming months on that. We'll be doing our annual sewer lining to increase the life of our existing sewer assets. So all in all, we're excited. We appreciate your support, and we're excited about continuing growth in Grand Blanc Township. Guys have any questions, we're more than happy to answer.
Well, and that KCI project that we mentioned, that huge sewer project, it will allow us to continue development. One of the benefits also, as I know we've discussed before, is that whole northwest portion of our township, Ottawa Hills and that area, and even north, it takes some of the pressure off the sanitary sewers up in that area, which have had issues because of I&I, or basically water, rainwater getting into the sanitary system and causing backups, what have you. So this will lower that, I believe, as well, right? And so even though it's a project that's occurring on the east side of the township, or southeast, or where it's going to start, it actually is going to benefit the complete opposite side of the township, which is up in the northwest portion of the township, where probably some older homes are, and some older streets and sewer systems. So that's what I'm excited for as well with that project. Any comments, questions for Mr. Boggs? Mr. Cooley?
Is a motion in order, Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, it is.
Then I will make that motion.
Okay, is there support? Support from Dr. Reardon?
Support by Raritan. Okay, and item 8E, Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item F, the board will consider a motion to approve a proposed construction agreement between the Township and Genesee County Road Commission to provide road construction services in the Green Knoll subdivision. Mr. Boggs?
This is the construction agreement to do the 200-foot resurfacing of the entrance of Green Knolls from Saginaw 200 feet back. We had the public hearings on this. You guys approved the roll, and this is the construction agreement to have the project start this spring, I believe.
Okay,
I'll verify that on the start date, but it is a 2024 project.
okay. So this is to approve the proposed construction agreement. Okay, Dr. Reardon is making the motion, supported by Mr. White.
Supported by Mr. White. Very good. Okay. Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
All right, one more item for DPW here. The board will consider a motion to approve the replacement of 3 heat exchangers on rooftop units RTU-E1, RTU-2, and RTU-E6 at the Township Hall by William E. Walter Mechanical for a total of $14,853, and authorize the Township Superintendent to execute all related contracts, documents, and POs. Mr. Boggs?
So these heat exchangers have came up cracked in previous maintenance, but they weren't causing any problems, so we delayed them. It came after the budget was approved, I think, at the end of '22, so we didn't have it in the budget for '23, so we added it for this year. And then before this budget was approved, we found another one that went bad, so we want to just get them knocked out. They're slow, then I think they're getting a little worse. Starting to, when it pre-ignites, you start to smell a little gas and stuff like that. So one's for this auditorium, so we definitely want to get that fixed.
Yeah, no, it's important we fix those. It can cause a lot of other problems. Yes, Mr. Kilmer?
So do we have 3 units or 4 units that need replacing?
This has 3.
Yeah, that has 3, but I thought I heard you say that there was another one there.
We had 2 for, that we discovered at the end of '22, and we found another one, which would make 3 at the end of last year after the budget was
Right.
going through the process.
Okay, does somebody want to make that motion? Mr.
Trustee
Fike?
Fike makes
Supported
the
by Mr.
motion.
White.
Supported by White. Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan. Yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes, sir.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Future agenda items, Mr. Lemata, we mentioned having the road commission come in. Is there other, I know we developed a schedule for the strategic plan that, so I guess we'll just go to the next item on the schedule, right?
It isn't complete yet, and I'll tell you why. Since the start of the new year, there hasn't been a blank space on my schedule since we came back from the New Year's break.
Right.
We're still putting it together, but and we want to take a look at, we want to prioritize how some of those are going to come before you based upon when those projects are coming, like information on the sidewalk down Saginaw Street, things like that. So we really need to have time to get to it, and I'm sure we can come up for air any one of these days now.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but the bottom line is our board, I think, is confident that we will cover in that next meeting whatever is prioritized, so we're fine with that. Mr. White, anything with the Zoning Board of Appeals? Mr. Fike, anything with Metro Alliance? Dr. Reardon, anything? Mr. Kilmer, anything Treasurer's Office?
No, sir.
Okay. Clerk Robertson?
No, sir, nothing to report.
I do want to say most people probably, I would guess, 99.9% of the public doesn't realize that our staff in our clerk's office is working Saturdays right now, just trying to keep up with the volume of requests for absentee ballots. And that whole process is enormous.
They were here from 9 in the morning until 6:30 in the evening on Saturday.
No,
We're required to maintain get the ballots out in a specific time.
Yeah.
And they did an exemplary job this weekend.
Right.
This past weekend.
Yes. It just goes to show what great staff we have in all of our departments. Truly, our staff is phenomenal here, whether it's that department or up front with our cashiers or DPW, fire, police, you name it, assessing, finance. With that, Mr. Laddie, you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. I have a couple of things to just mention real quick. One is that we're very pleased to be part of a group of townships that Dr. Beverly Brown, our county commissioner, assembled. And we've worked together with several other townships, and we actually were awarded a grant, and it's for economic development stakeholders, basically. So it's going to help us in a number of areas with some mentoring, some speakers coming in and talking to potential developers and current developers in our township. But it's a pretty good grant for helping us to move that ball. I think was Ms. Roberts, $50,000, something along those lines, to help us work with developers and township staff to do even more great things here in the township and our surrounding neighboring townships as well. So, and our hats off to Dr. Brown for helping us secure that grant and going after that. She's actually the one that brought it to us to be part of, to apply for. Also, just to bring everybody's attention to a movement that is getting some attention, and that is a referendum regarding getting rid of property taxes here in Michigan. There's a referendum that is gathering signatures to basically eliminate property taxes. Hopefully most residents know that the property taxes go to pay for everything from schools to police to our running our township. And if there's not property tax, it's going to have to come from somewhere, whether it's increasing the sales tax enormously or increasing income tax substantially. But unless we want to just have, chaos. So that's something that we're keeping our eye on. But sometimes these referendums get a life of their own, and not all the consequences are really outlined when people sign these petitions or know even what the pitfalls of or the consequences are for something like this moving forward. It'd be great to get rid of all taxes, but the bottom line is that we also enjoy what these taxes provide. We have great schools, we've got roads that are improving. We talked about the pathways, you name it. Those all come from our tax dollars, and so we'll see where that goes. But I just wanted to bring your attention to it, to keep an eye on it, and if people ask, you can tell them it could be devastating. The taxes would have to come from somewhere to run government. It's just a matter of whether you want it on sales tax, income tax, or the current property tax. And I'm not saying current property tax is perfect, but it's better than mass chaos too. With that, also we were notified. I'm sorry, Mr. Kilmer.
Yeah, didn't we, just in the last few days, didn't we get a nice bump on our senior center?
I'm just getting into that. Yes. Okay. So we, one of the things that our township has done over the last several years is I went through the county budget and looked at what our portion of contribution was to each of the departments, whether it's county parks, county senior, what have you, and looked at what the millage is that we contribute, and then how much we get back as a township. And one of our bones of contention was with the senior center. I'm pleased to say that we were recently notified that our senior center will receive $100,000 additional funding this year. Probably a one-time thing for this year. It's coming from some leftover ARPA money that the county has had, but that $100,000 will go a long ways. People probably don't realize that we actually go into our general fund to maintain that building, to operate it on an annual basis. So this $100,000 is huge in in the perspective that, we try to scrape together grant funds and tax dollars to be able to pay for repairs, and this is going to help us move the ball forward a little bit. So that was a great announcement that we received. Also, for those concerned with the Walmart parking lot, we are looking at a couple of possibilities on that, and we'll bring it to the board when we have that finalized and moving forward, but we are making some progress on that issue. Real sad situation, too. I know, I appreciate your comments on Parkwood Mobile Home. We mentioned that they've fully paid up, and that is great, but we do have another portion of our township that's experiencing some hardship, and that's actually the Woodfield condos that burned about 14 months ago. I've talked with a few of the residents down there, and the problem is those aren't rebuilt yet, and so those folks are both paying for their condo that isn't livable yet, and also having to pay for a place to live. And there's families, there's people that are disabled, what have you, and some of them are fearing that they're going to lose their condo. The other problem that they've just recently been notified is that their insurance premiums are going up 20 times what they were previously. So their insurance will probably be approximately $1,000 per unit on top of whatever payments they had for payment on their condo or the lease or rent. So just a real hardship, and I'm not sure there's anything this board can do, but I just want you to keep them in your thoughts that I'm going to attend their meeting and see if, I can refer them to anybody, but really a hardship on a whole group. And now it's affecting the entire complex. It's not just the part that burned, but everybody that lives in one of those condos is going to be affected by the insurance rates going up. I think the quote was like $370,000 or something like that. But anyways, just wanted to make you aware of that issue. And with that, Mr. Limata?
Got nothing.
Okay.
Is the motion to adjourn in order?
Well, in just a moment, though, Mr. Limata, I want to say I'm really sorry, though, that this past weekend that your team wasn't advancing, but we want to say go Lions this week, right?
Go Pack, go!
Okay, a motion now is in order. Dr. Reardon makes that motion.
You don't want to mention the fact that you can't believe that my team has had 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row. This kid's amazing.
He's a rookie, wasn't
Early to,
Motion by Dr. Reardon to adjourn, supported by Mr. Fike. All those in favor say aye.
Adjourned at 7:32. 7:32.
I'll give you that.
What's the